Hi everybody, this is Hero back with another Baldur's Gate 3 video. We're checking out Monk Shove Mechanics. And actually this is an interesting video because we're facing this weird gold boss, up in the toll booth. And she's got all these eyeballs that interact with you. Lots of cool ways to go about dealing with this boss. I'm not going to get into them because I'm just shoving things off the edge. Luckily for us, there's a really lovely edge for this boss to land on. Now, in a lot of my shove videos, we are pushing things into the abyss so you lose the body. But in this case, the abyss or the edge or the cliff is too far away. So we're just going to shove her out of her toll booth. But one thing that I realized after I kind of performed this a few times is that she has a lot of health. And like most bosses in this game, you can shove them out of a window, they hit the ground, and then they have to sort of make their way back up to you, and you have to deal with ads or something else like the Marcus fight, for example, or the bosses up in the healing house, or there's a few that are like this that the terrain doesn't really permit you to do much beyond managing a fight after you do the initial push, and you have to reposition yourself awkwardly. This boss, something happened in this boss that made me think that the rules are different for how fall damage normally works in 5e rules. So just as a refresher, every 10 feet you add another 6-sided dice. That's the rule. At 20 dice, you stop adding dice. So the maximum number of damage you can take under normal 5e rules is 20 6-sided dice. You just roll them and that's what the damage is. This this boss has 607 health, and I want you to see something really strange that happens when we launch her out of this window. There she goes. Whee! Dialogue starts, and then it stops. I get 500 XP, and she's dead. So Gerringothe Thorm received 621 bludgeoning damage from falling, and then the 1 psychic damage. I redid this a number of times to see what the outcomes would be, and I got other numbers: 598 bludgeoning damage, 597, 612, these kinds of numbers, all of which were enough to kill her when you combine the push damage from the spell, the landing damage, and then whatever psychic damage landed due to the Illithid passive. But the point is, the game was rolling dice. It wasn't just a set amount based on however much max HP she had or anything of this nature. Every time I did it, it was different, which suggests to me that there is no cap for falling damage on the dice rolls. It's not stopping at 20 dice and then rolling and that's it. It's going way beyond that. So I was trying to think, what is the basis for this? And it seems like the best answer, though I haven't got firm confirmation, has to do with the distance the creature is traveling. So it's either a direct result of wherever they started compared to wherever they end up, or it's some combination of x-axis, so straight along, compared with z-axis, so all of that movement being added together. Maybe those are sort of the same things. The point is that the technical part of it appears to be it's calculating the 10 feet and not having that cap in place. This has some implications for how we think about gameplay in general, but because there's lots of spots in the game where you can't push something into the abyss and you have to calculate, okay, can I just shove it down a level? My point is, if it's calculating distance traveled in total rather than just going down 10 feet, it means that a lot of the abilities that shove things out a long way are actually a lot more valuable than we first expected. Again, most of my experience has been just finding ledges to toss things into the chasm, but there's a lot of fights and building spaces and Z-axis portions where you can move things down multiple levels, but also you can launch them out. And it makes Monk's elements build even better in that regard because you have access to things like Fist of the Unbroken Air. From range, you can push things, and yes, it says 6 meters, but it actually pushes them quite a long ways out in addition to down. So if you can get these opportunities to use Four Thunders or Fist of the Unbroken Air, or even water whip them, and they can go a long way in general. Flying through the air, you can do a ton of damage if they land on the ground. Just thought I'd show that to you guys, and if you haven't come up with a good solution for how to beat this boss, which I will not suggest the other ones that I've tried and done, throwing gold at her and all those sorts of interesting things, come along here, grab yourself a scroll of Four Thunders or Thunderous Wave or whatever it's called, and launch her out the window. Zoom! This also has the advantage, by the way, of ignoring all of the skulls. They just immediately die. You get the 500 XP for all of that stuff. She's dead. You can go collect the loot off of her body, and then all these other skulls will also not really engage with you, so you can pick up all the gold. Anyways, just that was a funny thing to note, and wanted to bring it to your guys' attention as I make my way through shoving everything off of the ledge. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. We'll catch you again next time.